Cape Town, South Africa. The images that springs to mind are those of the oceans, mountains and beautiful houses lining the shore, a kaleidoscopic paradise evoking feelings associated with holidays, leisure, carefree and limitless pleasure. A metropolis, many have commented, looks like a city in Europe. However, just travel east from the city centre and you'll find in stark contrast the grey, grimy and dusty streets of the Cape Flats. Here, the daily reality for a young man or woman living on the Cape Flats has more to do with survival in the heat and dust of this sprawling dried-out wetlands while suffering immense poverty. In fact, the positioning of the Cape Flats is geographically dislocated from the picture-perfect view of Cape Town. From District 6, the Group Areas Act condemned people of colour to the Cape Flats, a swamplands bled dry by white supremacists' hostile hands. Slave and indigenous descendants' limbs straddled in limbo, harnessed by apartheid sirens to conform, accept and obey. Fear instilled through tear gas, tears, lies and purple spray. Blue lights and late-night knocks mercilessly spreading a sense of dismay. It took courage and love for Derrick Orderson and his peers to overcome many of the struggles many still face up to this day. This film is an expression of the intersection between the personal and the political for a black sportsperson growing up in an abnormal society who, despite inhumane prejudice, excelled and still continues to monitor and participate in the transformation of sports in the post-apartheid era.
I started swimming my first gala, I can call it, at age 10. Then again it was just a gala between the club, Aurora, and another club just our neighbors, that's from Guguletu, Langa. So that has opened doors for me, because that when I started off in knowing that I can achieve something out of it, and then there must be something besides swimming. It does open doors for other things in life. So that's how I sort of kept on going in swimming.
I got to know Derrick through my brother, and he brought this newspaper home, and there was an article about Derrick doing the Freedom Run, which a Freedom for Mandela at that time. And he said to me, Janine, you got to meet this guy. This guy used to do. You got to meet this guy. And I asked him, who's this guy? And he explained to me like he was like a swimming hero. He was the best in swimming in South Africa, and I was like fascinated. So when the time came that I actually met him, I would be traveling by train from Mitchell's Plain to UWC. And as I'm changing stations and I'm waiting on the train, I would just see, whoops, like a shadow coming past me. And there would be this person waiting, like one sharing the seat next to him. And obviously there was some kind of a spark between the two of us. I thought he was absolutely gorgeous.
I've been here since 1986. I did some postgraduate studies, so I've got in sport, management and sport recreation exercise sciences. So and then also I got my HTE, that's a teacher's certificate as well.
I started to work at the university in 1991, so that's where I heard about Derrick Orderson. And I only started working here in the department at the end of 1999, so that's when we became colleagues. Very quiet individual. We tell him you don't brag about things. Just to tell you a story, we went to Australia a few years back, and we sat in this conference, and people were talking about achievements and so on. And I made an example and said, well, my colleague here is a world champion living, and started hiding himself. He didn't want to talk about it. And that's typical of his characteristics and the person that he is. A lot of times one sit down and you think with a lot of sadness and you're upset about the things that happened in the 70s with a person such as Derrick unable to go and represent his country in swimming. But I think we are confident that for all of the records that he set, for all of the passion that he shared, for all of the commitment and dedication for him to remain in the sport, that is absolutely something that I believe our heroes of today can refer back to. And the fact that he's still involved in the sport says a lot, because when people reaches Derrick's age, they begin to feel in many cases despondent because the face of the sport is not changing quick enough. And I can almost guarantee you that he's feeling that pain.
This is like an old Western Cape Amateur Swimming Association, a gala entry form, yeah? And look there. Event number 10, boys 15 to 1600 yards freestyle, record holder Derrick Orderson, age 16.
Fantastic! Where did you find this?
This is mine. 55 seconds.
Good. That was quite some time.
Listen, would you that fast?
1985.
Yeah, that was it.
Derrick Orderson, he was one of the legends when we were like still, as you can see, he was 15, 16, so we were 11, 12 years old. So he was like one of those big guys. So you looked up to him when you were a youngster at the galas, and he was always like the highlight, at a gala at the event, because it's like a dash. You just see water and arms, and then you touch the wall, and then it would be Derrick Orderson. Back in the day, it was well, at least now, you specialize. But in 1985, you needed to swim all the events. So Derrick would swim 50-meter freestyle, 100 freestyle, 200, 400, 800, 1.5, and you'd win all those races. These days, I look at the youngsters who are my age, and you feel a little bit sad, because even at a young age, you even knew that you cannot separate sport from the politics of the day. You even got the idea that this is more than just swimming. You were making a point. So that is part of you. So you can't separate that. And even if you grow up, it's like you knew there were certain things that even today you must have an opinion about it, and you know what is right and what is righteousness, and you can use sport as a political tool to make a point as well.
I started competing at 11.
So these guys here, these record holders, these were Derrick's counterparts. These were his competition, like Zaid Martin. You will remember all these names, Graham Ritchie, Carol Ritchie, Derrick Orderson again, their 100 freestyle record. You remember this?
Yeah, no, I remember that type of events they showed, they gave out this, on the evening.
Coming to Mr. Orderson, we normally said it was always for us a great pleasure standing at the swimming pool, couldn't properly swim, and looking up to the highest point of the diving level. You see Mr. Orderson there, and you wonder now, what is he going to do now? And the way he dived down and do this, so what do you call it, the somersaults, it was just amazing for us, man. And because this is the kind of things you only see on TV, and especially when there's a big event, international or Olympic event on, and now you have someone very close to you who can do this kind of things. And then you ask yourself, where did it come from? Did he learn himself? Did he have a specialized coach? And then we heard afterwards, he taught himself. But I think what I've read in the times Derrick has clocked, I know he would have been able to represent us with great honors in the Olympic Games. Sport was used as a vehicle towards a democracy. Like rugby, who is a big sport in South Africa, unity was already in 92. but democracy was only in 94. So sport was used as a vehicle. Well, Hasenauer, I think we all know Hasenauer, the president of SACOS. And many people didn't know what SACOS stood for, but it was the African Council on Sport. And he said no normal sport in an abnormal society. And I remember in the Cape Herald those years that Hasenauer even slammed Harold Tobias for availed himself to become the first black Springbok instead of saying no. And many believe still that he would have been a hero, a more accepted hero now for declining for being a Springbok than taking the post as a Springbok player. I think it was more about your principle also, not necessarily just about politics, because we were all aware, we were all victims of apartheid, but it's about how you felt. So it's about your principle. Sometimes you were in a friendship, it can be divided into two, people who accepted the system and people who were totally against the system.
In the late 1950s, the vision of non-racial sports structures began to take effect with the formation of the South African Sports Association, SASA, founded by Dennis Brutus and fellow comrades. SASA, which later became the South African Non-Racial Olympic Committee, SANROC, campaigned both domestically and abroad for international isolation of South African sport internationally. In 1965, SANROC had collapsed, but the ideals of non-racialism and resistance had remained. In 1970, the South African Non-Racial Sports Organisation, SASPO, was formed. SASPO consisted out of 8 non-racial national representatives. In 1973, the South African Council of Sports, SACOS, was formed out of SASPO under the direction of Norman Middleton. With its slogan, "No normal sport in an abnormal society," it opposed racism in sport and organized many sportsmen and women into a political movement that actively opposed apartheid laws and brought international attention to the oppressive political situation in South Africa, with a focus on discriminatory sporting practices. The increased radicalization of the oppressed people in the 1970s began to be reflected in the radical nature of SACOS gatherings. SACOS was clear that the society would have to be restructured in order for sport to be truly non-racial. A key feature in the ideology of SACOS was the notion of non-collaboration with the apartheid forces. SACOS was an active member of the Mass Democratic Movement of South Africa and hence became known as the sports wing of the liberation movement.
When I was growing up, it was inevitable, during that time that, sport was part of the broader political movement. And when I became aware of SACOS is when I started doing sports administration.
SACOS was formed in April 1973 at a meeting called by Norman Middleton and Hasenauer and luminaries such as those.
SACOS grew out of the awareness that sport could be a powerful weapon in the struggle against apartheid and the illegitimate regime that existed at the time. There was a serious attempt by the apartheid government to keep sport and developments in sport separate from politics, but the SACOS cry of no normal sport in an abnormal society. That message was used to convey, first of all, to the members of SACOS, the people we wanted to engage in political debate and in struggle, internal struggle in the country, that our society was abnormal, that apartheid certainly was demeaning, was oppressive, and could never be recognized as the ordinary order of things in any society.
Another notorious apartheid law, the Group Areas Act, saw the formation of a township today known as Bonteheuwel. Bonteheuwel was established in 1960 and houses close to 100,000 people. It is the second oldest township on the Cape Flats and was the first to house predominantly colored people of Khoi, San, slave and slave master heritage. It is here where Derrick and his family were forced to move to after they were evicted from Salt River. Bonteheuwel was initially made up of people removed from District 6, Boer Kaap and Salt River. It was also one of the townships that was at the forefront of the struggle against the apartheid regime. Some of South Africa's most active and militant activists hail from Bonteheuwel. Activists like Ashley Creel, Anton Franch, Colleen Williams, to name but a few, are some of the student activists who were at the forefront of the struggle for freedom in South Africa.
Oh, goodness me. Derrick must have been about
10 years old, I think it was.
8, 9 years old, or maybe even younger. Look, the thing is, the only thing that was in Bonteheuwel was a swimming pool. So this was the central meeting place of everybody. And as many youngsters as we could get, we got them into the pool, chucked them into the water, get them to swim. And that was the ultimate thing that we could do here, because there was nothing else to do. When we started Aurora Swimming Club, we were always the club that came into swimming meets with everybody with their own swimming trunks, not speedos, anything that they could find. There was no uniform, tracksuits or anything, so that was, I think, the ultimate aim, just to get everybody speedos first thing, so that we could look the same. And the next one was to get tracksuits. And I can remember well the first time that we walked into Wynberg swimming pool with the whole team dressed out in tracksuits. That evening we only came first, second and third. Then only first, second and third.
We all went to school together. I at one stage heard about this guy that, normally when they have their get-togethers on a Monday morning, they would have this, the principal would have a chat and then say this or that is what the guys achieved. And then we had this guy coming up. And now in those days, when you become a Western Province swimmer or any provincial swimmer or athlete, you are called in front of everybody and they would present you with a blazer, you would get your badge, you would get your tie. Now, you must remember, Derrick was a provincial swimmer. Now, if you have a provincial swimmer as good as he was, Derrick was one of the best. Believe you me, he could have, if given the opportunity, he would have definitely would have been one of the top swimmers in the world. Now, the only way one could train Derrick was simply this. You would give the guys half or 3/4 length of the pool and say, right, Derrick, I'd go fetch him. That's the way we used to train him, because there was nothing else that you could get to get this guy to work.
At that time, when the riot really started here, Arcadia High School was actually the focus point. And the first guy that was shot was here in Arcadia High School. And this whole area was an uproar. You would find the Caspers pulling up on the field and the children running between the houses to hide. As soon as the Caspers disappear, then the place is back to normal. Then everything is quiet down again. once everything, all the action is finished, then everybody's in the pool again and be swimming and carrying on.
You know, if you get up in the morning with fear, knowing that you may just not make it, or somebody else may not make it, some friend of yours that just don't make it, and we've had some of those guys that just didn't make it. Guys that you were walking along with, that this morning and the evening, you know, they're no longer there. You would walk along the road there and just all of a sudden those guys would just pop up, just shoot you with some tear gas and you would run around hoping that you would get an open door.
I remember we've got here on the corner, there was one gang, the corner boys, and on the other side, the 77s. When the police vans turned around there, they would stop the vans and throw the vans so that the children could get the chance to get away. So it was really organized in this area.
I look back and reflect, and I think, you know, Derrick was really a guy that should have gone to the Olympics were it not for the political conditions at the time. Because I believe that he was the best in the country at the time. You know, we hear about Roland Skuman and these guys today. But I always think, when I think of Derrick, I think, you know, that guy, he should have gone to the Olympics, you know, and it was only the political dispensation that prevented that. Otherwise, he would have walked the team.
How the experience shaped me. I was really active politically. Due to also being picked up once, you need to decide what you actually have to do. What it has also taught me on our side, you know, the political side of it, was equality first and education last. And that actually didn't really bring us that far, because we were still so far behind with education. When everything was open and politics was fair and the playing field was level, we were still far behind on the education side. And if you look back, most of those guys never recovered that actually went to jail at that time. Most of them are still hanging around. They are, so to say, nobody's in Bonteheuwel, but they were part of the struggle, getting people to uplift themselves. So, you know, it's just difficult.
We had Ashley Creel, who belonged to the swimming club. Ashley Creel has passed away, as you people know. And they would always meet in the time of the riots in emergency. They would always meet here at the pool, and they would always be in a group, you know, and they would always be protective to one another, you know, until they went into hiding. So it was a lot of school, a lot of guys, and they used to belong to the swimming club, and they all went into hiding, and we never saw them again until Ashley Creel's death.
There comes a time in the life of any nation when there remain only two choices: submit or fight. And we, says Nelson Mandela, we have decided to fight and to hit back with all the means at our disposal against our
Well, Ashley, as you know, was a die-hard ANC member. He was as an activist. He was very unassuming. You know, he used to come to the pool here, do his swimming, and but heavily involved outside in the community. Aurora was a member of the South African Amateur Swimming Federation, who in turn was a member of SACOS. And I think because of Ashley's political awareness and commitment, he felt that this was a vehicle which he could use to activate members in the community. For some unknown reasons, I collected Derrick's diplomas and certificates of all his achievements over the years since 1976. And then going through my files the other day, I found this whole wad of diplomas and certificates. And I was so chuffed when he phoned me last night to say that he was going to organize this get-together. And I thought, well, I'll bring this along and present it to him again, you know. If things were normal, Derrick would have qualified for the Olympics the way he was swimming in those days, you know.
Yeah, it's just a type of, taking me back. And it's, it's nostalgic. I mean, it's sort of make me think, I mean, it's just taking me years back. And it was good.
What's the current world record for 50-meter freestyle?
That time, Banbury Dar said I'm 2 seconds out of the world record.
That time?
That time. So that was something,
this
that I
is a 25
treasure.
one.
This certificate that indicate that I swam a time of 25.81 in a 50-meter freestyle. That's 2 seconds out of the world record. So, yeah, at that time, yeah.
So you say, julle is cloned fast twitch fibers.
The mid-80s, the security branch they knew where we were having tournaments. They knew what we were doing. They couldn't, because of world attention on this country, they couldn't ban sports meetings. And that's where SACOS played such an effective role. Now, I'll tell you, in 1984, 85, 86, SACOS, this was besides the actual political work we did at tournament level. SACOS had provincial affiliates of SACOS. They would then coordinate the provincial codes of sport. But during the 80s, during the mid-80s, when we had those states of emergency, any overtly political meeting was banned. You could be jailed, you could get detention without trial and all the rest of it. And it was surreal. Azapo would be there, the Transvaal Indian Congress would be there, NACTU, the trade union, would be there. That time COSATU was just about started up, they would be there, the BC guys would be there. But it was a Transvaal Council on Sport meeting. They knew and we knew that was the only place they could meet. It was a crucial time in our history. There was successive states of emergency. We were having Black Christmases and all that sort of political activity. And the only place that activists could meet, political activists, was at the SACOS Forum.
Now, as my memory sparkles between the dust and the waters, I can't help but find myself wondering what could have been, what still needs to be. What if yesterday was today? Could we depend on our elders to make a life, and with the same unconquerable spirit? For despite their collective sacrifice, has things really changed? Or has our struggle been deferred? Derrick chose to keep his head underwater despite P.W. Bote's regime and the mercenary apartheid sport enforcers. Prejudice propagated all around could not keep him from his oceanic sanctuary, for as soon as his head went under, the voice of apartheid's beast was harmlessly distorted.
We are at Mono Beach, busy beach resort, and I'm here for preparing myself for the freedom swim. It's going to be from Robben Island till Blouberg Beach. This morning, I got up at just after 6 o'clock. It's almost the time that you're going to take the plunge, so it's just to that extra effort. I came here in 1987. I came from Alpha Life Saving Club. And this beach, the SWAT Club, as it's called, used to be, where a lot of fishermen used to come. This wasn't a natural beach area, it's more rocky area. And they sort of built a tidal pool. Then again, there wasn't much of a beach as well next to this tidal pool. And he used to have quite a lot of drownings taking place. As this just on the outskirts of Khayelitsha, and it's like one of the sub-economic areas, and you find that people, 90% to 95% that stays in shacks. So, and a lot of unemployment around on days with the conditions, sunshine. People flock to the beach without really the knowledge of how to look after themselves. A lot of people, bring their liquor with, and swimming under being intoxicated, they tend to not thinking what's going to be the outcome. Okay, I'm just preparing myself, taking a swim down memory lane. So yeah. See you. That was the end of my session now. So feel a bit tired, but recovery, that goes quick. It's been years, and still thinking I'm still being part of a fraternity where I'm sort of, always found myself being in swimming and in life saving. And I still just enjoy it. That's how I always want to do things, being part of the water and doing something for the community.
So I remember this one particular day, he was doing a swimming meet in Paarl, Wellington area. And I said to my mom, I'm going to be taking the tray now, and I'm going to be watching Derrick Orderson swim. And I didn't know where to or what. And there I was, when the race started, I was right there. And he was actually quite amazed that I would go through all that effort, because I wanted to see what is this greatness about, And he swam this race effortlessly.
Wakey. Yeah, we're just getting ready now for this long swim. It's already, what time? 6, so we're leaving at 6 o'clock, so just getting ready. I've been preparing for this long swim for now a few months. That's about 4 to 5 months now. So then again, I was also off and on, but then again, I was always kind of tied in with the life saving, so that actually get me, into speed.
Swimmers today swimming 200 meters in the ice. Imagine swimming back then from Robben Island to the shore. Did you know the first person that escaped was a Khoi elder? His name was Achimoda. There's different ways of pronouncing it. He escaped once by swimming because he knew how the wind and the currents to work together. It was a short period in between, and then they caught him again and he escaped a second time, but using like a little old boat he found, either one of the rescue vessels that was abandoned by one of the ships that were wrecked, or one of the colonialists that just discarded it because it was leaking and stuff, so they didn't expect anyone would attempt to use it. You can imagine how long your body takes to recover if you have to swim from there to there. So there's a lot of stories that we don't know about because history don't teach us. That actually, that story was documented by the colonialists themselves, but they've hidden it. So if you go to a Dutch museum, you'll find a lot of our history actually there. They keep our stuff there by them in their museums, but we don't know about it. But the 200 meters
Small. Okay, come guys, let's go. See you, eh? Oh,
way and you're going to swim across the global. I think for the rocks here, you guys are going to jump in and all go together.
Yeah. While I'm standing here, I just feel that the breeze, it's quite a bit of a chill. But I think with the sun sort of sticking out its head, it probably will heat up a bit later on. But temperature, I think that's my main concern now, just to kind of adapt as quickly as possible once we, swim. So, but then again, it's just to kind of put your head to it, and you put your head down in the water and you only for a way. Able to be part of this occasion, I think it's really I'm quite honored to be part of it. And at the one occasion, I was also doing the Freedom Run, and that was Mandela's 75th birthday. So I did a Freedom Run there from retreat. Down, it was supposed to be to Guguletu, it was supposed to be celebrating there, but on the way there, we were intercepted by police force and we were taken into custody. But then again, that was those years. But now I'm going to have a free swim.
Let's go!
Quite okay. A bit tiring later on, but otherwise I coped, I think. No, it was fine. How's the water? It wasn't cold, it's not that cold. Just when you dive in, it's a bit chill, but then you start swimming and then everything is fine.
Oh, this guy. God, man! He never molded him. Go to the front now.
Look, watch he's swimming. Oh, you wanna go escape from Roman Island or something? Sure.
Is that so obscure?
Yeah.
Come on. Good. Okay. I will go next for you. Okay, I'm going for you.
Today is actually a milestone, it's a great time, a great moment for us as a family to see him finish this race. Being a family with such talent and being so suppressed, all our lives, and to see him reach this is really, it's wonderful. Dada, look who's here! Ja.
Er gaan nog zo'n papa.
Nogie. Nogie.
Derrick het van Robben Island geswem. Ja, van Robben Island.
I say, yeah.
Hij weet wat hij zegt.
Quite happy. No, and surprised as well. But we're always quite close as a family when it comes to supporting each other. Now that my dad's got Alzheimer's, I think you still, have moments where, you can't remember. But I think when it comes to sitting down and trying to, you can still place himself in at a location where he can still remember his kids. Not that he can't remember at all. No, he can still. I do think he can still remember. And on that specific day, I think you could register that it's me.
After being at the height of his swimming career, was more so to guide, teach, help, and not only individuals, but help almost whole communities of people, giving them a hope in life-saving, an opportunity to help one another, to be there for each other, to save each other. And he did that effortlessly. He would do that weekend in, weekend out. Myself and our eldest son, we would be the ones staying at home, and he would be just giving and giving to the community. That became Derrick's life, and I think through that he had no time for remorse and bitterness, because he was always so busy giving.
Khayelitsha, a vibrant township outside Cape Town. Established in 1985, it houses close to 500,000 people. Like many other townships across South Africa, the area faced many social ills like unemployment, substance abuse, and housing shortages. Khayelitsha residents has access to only one beach, known as Monwabisi. Located on the east coast of False Bay, the danger of drowning is too real to soothe away the daily struggles people face. Despite the vigilance of our under-equipped lifeguards, many people have drowned. A badly erected wall, apparently built to create a calm cove, has instead made many dangerous currents, underlining the negligent policy shown toward the marginalized communities by the old regime. Derrick Orderson arrived at Monwabisi in 1986 and diligently went about co-founding Monwabisi Surf Life-Saving Club with other concerned community members. Despite lack of resources and numerous burglaries, to this day it stands proud as one of the first black life-saving clubs in South Africa.
My name is Mteteleli Mdoda. Started swimming I think about 12 years ago now. Just joined the life-saving club, and they taught me everything, how to swim, how to save people's lives. The community I'm from is Khayelitsha. Likened to any other township, we got all these kind of social issues. I've known Derrick for the past 11 years, ever since I came to join the club. Firstly, when I came here, it was 1998 or 97. Then I saw him as he was fit, very fit, muscular. He was very strict. He'll take a flipper and punch you with it if you don't listen to him. That time he used to teach us life-saving. He used to drill us on life-saving. What is life-saving? So I still have that kind of know what life-saving is. If something is wrong, then I question it. Because he taught me. But I will say he's also a daddy. Because he will come here with no food, just been walking all the way from side B. Then you get here, he parked his car here, opened the put, he's got loaves of bread there. So he said, what have you eaten? I say, nothing. He said, come, have something. Then opens his lunch box, he's got French there, French bologna. And now we mix, then we on what we call the sweet aid. And at least we have something. So we thought, this is the escape for us. Come from the township, then we run till here. But we didn't know that we were enriching ourselves now with the skills. Because while we were here, he didn't let us sleep around. He'll take us back the tidal pool, teach us how to swim, teach us how to swim faster.
Virtually, I met Derrick Orderson towards the end of 1995. And since then, he was my instructor, my personal coach. We even trained together. By we, I talk about me and him going out even when he needed to compete at the time, because not most of us were competent at the time to compete in lives and competitions. But then he would take me along and just go with him and watch, and even force me at times to compete. And so he was more like a father to me all these years. He still is. We even jokingly said that if he must die one day, then we must bury him at the beach so that we can always see him, and we know that he will rest well knowing that he's next to the coast.
You know where we come from. People are religious in some way, or they are traditionalists. They are traditional. They believe if you involve yourself with water, you might drown. Because there is some clans of ours that if you are this kind of clan, you must not mix with water. You might drown, and something bad is going to happen to you, or your ancestors are going to call you should you go in the water. So I'll go back and explain to them, oh, this is what they are doing there in the beach. You know, most parents, beach. Say, no, you're going to drown. Yeah, bring that person there who's teaching you how to swim. You must see him. Who's he? Then he comes there. So now there's a problem. You can't explain what Derrick is saying because maybe your parents are also illiterate. This was funny now. They're just saying yes because he's here. Now you can go. You can. It was funny, man. It was funny. So, but Derrick, he's a person of people, man. You know, he knows how to relate. As we're coming inside the clubhouse that we were sitting outside, this is supposed to be a clock room, actually. As you can see, it's full of sand. You can see Popo down there. Okay, as you can see this place now, people relieve themselves here. So they use as a toilet, as I've said before, because there's no public toilets available. So you use any open space. So our clubhouse now is now a toilet, as we can say. Sand everywhere. See, it's been vandalized. Windows broken. These zincs they will be going in a few days because people need these zincs. They will take them. This is a boathouse actually. We put a boat here, we put our skis across on these stills. All our life-saving skills, the competitive skills, we used to put them here. You can see people are making use of the planks. Maybe when it's windy or when it's cold, they come here and make fire. It's saddening to see a clubhouse going down like this. I mean, this is supposed to be a main room in this whole facility, in this whole resort, lifesavers room or lifesaver tower. Because now someone must be in danger. How can we help? There's no equipment left. It's all stolen. We used to hold our meetings in here, or we used to have any function, or just watch a movie from here every Friday night, just to keep the guys together, socializing with each other. We might even find a dead body sometime here. It's a dumping place. Anything can be dumped here. Used to be a life-saving clubhouse. No more a life-saving clubhouse.
I think what happened with South African society during the major repressive years of apartheid, particularly when the ANC was banned and political activity was not allowed to happen. Various sectors of South African society, in particular black communities, became highly politicized. We had organizations such as the UDF, which became the internal arm of the liberation movement, and then of course the sports movement. And the mass democratic movement's basic objective was to ensure and to create as much internal pressure as possible on the apartheid government.
As early as 1986, because the ANC was aware of the fact that Nelson Mandela was going to be released and the changes. They were aware of it. There were huge political movements happening at the time which we as ordinary politicians or ordinary citizens were not aware of. P.W. Botha had already sent Kobe Coetzee to speak to the ANC, and Pik Botha was getting involved in little initiatives. There was a time when Nelson Mandela was moved to Paulsmoor prison. These were all preparatory things that were happening.
Now at the time, SACOS was seen to be aligned with the far left, and the ANC movement, the Charterist movement, the tripartite alliance tried to swing SACOS to a more, let's call it an ANC-friendly philosophy. That was not successful, and the NSC was established.
But we didn't know that Sam Ramsamy had already thrown in his lot to the ANC. Sam Ramsamy was, to the best of our knowledge, he was our official representative overseas. He was swimming's representative in particular, and he was SACOS's representative as an organization. This is a role he had fulfilled since 1976 with the Montreal Olympics, when they boycotted the Montreal Olympics. He was the de facto, Sam Ramsamy was the de facto representative of every sports organization linked to SACOS.
SACOS did not want the new South Africa to participate in international competition until a situation had been created where the pathway for an excellent sportman in the townships up to international level was clearly defined, where the right conditions existed for people from all communities to move into international sport had been created.
So we had the absolutely curious situation in swimming, where we then approached the white body. We said, listen, we need to talk unity. And then a couple of months after that, FINA says to us, listen, we're sending a fact-finding commission. And we said, okay, these are the bodies that you've got to see. It was us. The NSC had started a body quickly, and then there was the white body under Isikrama. And we said, these are the three bodies that you have to meet. Then the white body under Isikrama and the mythical, the imaginary, the fictional body, SASCO, which was under the NSC, they then merged quickly. And then we had unity talks in 1990 with our representative sitting on the other side of the table as the president of the other organization. And this man was our representative. And I sat on this side of the table and I had to oppose Sam Ramsamy. And in that atmosphere, Sam was the guy that all the Olympic organizations knew, the IOC knew them, all the sports bodies knew him. He had said and we had allowed him to represent us all these years. He sat on that side of the table and he said to FINA, who chaired the meeting, listen, this is the real group here. And the irony is, it was the white group, because SASCO was not an organization. They were one or two clubs. And he sat with Isikrama and them and he said to FINA, that organization with Mike Davey, they are not the true representatives, we are.
I'm being a nominee for Sports Legends. Those had achieved excellent levels of sport, and that's why we're meeting here, and from multidiscipline codes. And so I'm representing aquatics.
The next recipient is Derrick Orderson. Joined the Aurora Swimming Club in Bonteheuwel between 76 and 78. Represented senior schools and set freestyle records of 55.5 seconds, 100 yards, and was captain. He was the world master champion in surf and freshwater lifesaving. He assists with the UWC Learn to Swim program and involved in coaching the Kailitsa Monmabisi Surf Lifesaving Club. Ladies and gentlemen, Derrick Orderson.
I would say that because of Derrick's greatness in the swimming fraternity, people had who he was as a swimmer became to them who he is as a person. You know, so they looked at him as great as a star. And because he's a quiet person and he's a very still person, it's almost like who he is to them supersedes who he really is as a person.
Like most is the one that you just mentioned now, where to sack the guys who work for the pool and belong to Inquili. And they threaten to sack them. They will lose their jobs if they continue with swimming with us.
I was sacked. Don't be silly.
The Bantu board, eh?
I was sacked.
Were you one of the guys?
I was
Okay,
sacked.
my word.
Yeah.
We remember those issues.
Yeah.
I mean, at that time we used to have meetings with regard to people not allowed to, because the pool is empty, and there was a certain reason.
It is because they stopped us from swimming with you.
Swimming with SACOS, yeah.
And you know, that time the government was, I should think the government was with those other guys, but now you guys came out. And help us out from that misery. I like it when these guys were fetching our children.
We busing, remember? We bussed him from Gugale to the Aurora pool and to the Dolphin pool in Adelaide.
It is a great privilege of meeting each other like this, man, brother. Well, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, we'll never forget those things.
I mean, I've been in sport for all I can remember until the age of 29. So that used to be an escape, especially I think especially with stressful moments. Even at the time when my mom passed away, I can remember that I actually about 3 days afterwards, it was nationals swimming championships, and I went to go swim, you know, being sad and trying to get away from that, losing your mom, and I could still be able to excel in my discipline, and that was also at the time at the height of my career. And things were tough that time, you know. It wasn't just, things didn't come easy. So it was me excelling in my sport, but then again I was at times on my own, didn't have much in the house. So if you have to have like pocket money, you have to do things that be able to bring your side also into the household. I mean, I specialize in sprints, so the 100 meters, they call that the blue ribbon event. That's normally the main event. I compare myself competing. I saw people, they swam their times at the Olympics. That I was within the boundaries of be able to qualify for the Olympics. Yeah, I would have been able to qualify.
I think what was uppermost in Derrick's mind is that at 28 he couldn't carry on forever and ever. The reality was that he was the best in South Africa for many, many years, and he knew the ceiling was up against the ceiling. There was nowhere else to go.
In 1996, I participated in the World Championships, Masters, and that was my first experience at that level. So then I competed against other about plus 30 odd countries internationally, and it was in the swimming pool, that's fresh water, and then also in the surf and beach events. For that, I could, bring a lot of good memories. This was that, I trained for it. Not that I expected any, achievements where I could medal, but if I could medal, it was a bonus. Not knowing I came first, I was a top achiever in that one event, the 100 meters with fins. When I did ask the officials, if it was, was I maybe not mistaken with somebody else, perhaps. Then they told me, no, I did win. It was quite an achievement because I think I was the first person of color in South Africa to have that accolade of winning an award in the water for swimming. And, it just set the, it was a milestone. I went to New Zealand in '98. I managed to repeat the feat that I, in '96 in Durban. Got even more medals. I got, compared to the 3 medals in Durban, I got 5 medals. I defended my titles in '98 in New Zealand. So that was, something out of this world for me. And knowing that I can, could have been, what could have been, now in my older years, I could, sing praises in that way. Having to swim or compete at a much higher level, say for instance Olympics, I don't think that was, did much, it would have been of a big factor getting the gold medal. That, it was all, what I've done, what could have happened, what I could have achieved. It's a minute to the political struggle, I think.
I don't think there is a country in the world where sport has been so inextricably a part of politics. But that is also because of the unique South African apartheid politics, where the hegemony of the white Afrikaner, part of the mythology, was linked to sport. If I can take somebody like Derrick Orderson, there is a particular theory around swimming. It was in vogue that black people could not swim because they had a denser bone structure. Because at Olympic level you've never seen black swimmers excel. I don't know if I should tell you the story of Brian Hermanus, who trained at Crystal Palace in 1972. You can go and look up in Olympic history. He swam with and against David Wilkie. David Wilkie went on to be an Olympic breaststroke champion for Great Britain. Brian Hermanus beat him regularly, and we have the times.
One of the top black swimmers that we always look at was a guy called Makocha Mota from Soweto. He was like the top breaststroker at that time.
Makocha Mota swam in 1982. He recorded Olympic swimming times that would have qualified him for the Olympics. A very, very regal swimmer. He was an absolutely fantastic breaststroke swimmer. And he was the first guy in 10 years to break one of Brian's records in the 100-meter breaststroke. And at that time in 1982, those were Olympic qualifying standards that the white youngsters in this country, obviously they couldn't go to the Olympics because South Africa had been banned, but he was recording similar and better times. And a year or so after that, we had a Derrick Orderson in the freestyle. He was in the 100-meter, he was doing sub 1 minute times, 58 and 55, which were Olympic standards at the time. We were using the old analog watches. We didn't have digital watches. We didn't have electronic touchpad timing. we were using the digital watches, hand-timed, and they were recording those times. Those times were definitely better had we had touchpads and all, which the Western world was enjoying at that time.
I believe that if we had followed the route that SACOS advised, that we would have been further down the line to equity in sport. We would have been further down the line in having our children from the black communities participating at the top level. If we had stepped back, if we had said to ourselves, let's develop the organizations, let's develop the technical skills, the structures in the townships, let's create conditions for everybody to operate at an equal level in sport, we would have been further down the line.
"1994 saw the birth of a new non-racial and democratic South Africa, a country that would no longer discriminate against its people because of their skin color. However, several years later, in a free and democratic country, sport and sporting codes remain racialized. It is clear that the slogan, "No normal sport in an abnormal society," is as relevant today as it was then. Sport is a privilege that only the elite can afford to enjoy. Unfortunately, there is no longer a mobilizing force such as SACOS on the side of the oppressed to fight against the continued injustice in our society. In an increasingly unequal country, how many more of us will continue to be excluded and denied the opportunity to participate as equals?